Hey guys, just a quick heads up. During the recording process, Twitch decided to proactively mute a section of the audio. So I wasn't making a recording at the time, just streaming, and it bit me in the butt. So that's been corrected going forward in the future. However, for this episode, there is a bit of a gap between segments 2 and 3. Effectively, if you don't want to be left out in the dark, I just finished talking about my love for Destiny and then how that's going to turn into a new project. So hopefully you guys can piece it together, and moving forward we'll have this all fixed. Sorry. We're up and running. It's a surprise show. Haha! Thought it was Mondays. It's really Thursdays. This episode of The Unwashed Asses is brought to you by patreon.com/0and09. If you dig the show, if you dig what I do, if you want to help support things, make them keep happening, head over to patreon.com/0and09. Pitch in a buck or two. $1 a month is all I ask. It keeps this show going, keeps other projects going, and makes them better in the future. So head on over to patreon.com/0and09. I don't think doing the live show is always going to be the most graceful transition. I keep looking at the feed and the camera, and then have to mix out the audio, which I guess is okay if you're looking at it from a live aspect, but I don't know, it seems weird. So, welcome to the Unwashed Asses, episode 26, recorded Thursday, August 10th, 2017. August. 8 months of doing this show. Crazy. Does this scarf make my head look fat? Is it my hair? Is it the actual fat in me that makes me look fat? Need to stop looking at the feed. Look at the camera. Be engaging. Sit up straight. So, what happened to Monday's show, Christian? Well, I'll tell you what happened to Monday's show. Monday was a bit of a train wreck in terms of news and things happening within my life, and so I tried to push past it and still put out a show, and we got one segment in and it's like, I don't know if this is gonna work, so ended up killing it about halfway through, which was unfortunate. We learned that lesson early on. Don't record angry and upset, and definitely don't lash out at the audience, and so we had to put that old yeller down. So Tuesday, I was going to go ahead and okay, well, we can do a makeup episode. It's easy. My usual plans fell through, so we'll go ahead and record then. I was feeling great. I was still a little upset that waking up that Tuesday morning, but by the time the afternoon rolled around, everything was peachy keen. I was right on board. Everything's on track, and then the thing from Monday reared its head again. Just not even reoccurring. The memory just came back, and it's like, oh, hey, this thing happened. Yeah. So here's that memory. Deal with it again, and I got into a foul mood, and that's the shitty thing. And I was bitching about it on Monday. Was there's a lot going on and a lot I can't talk about, which really fucking irks me because censorship is one of my biggest pet peeves. Who was it? I think it was Mark Twain who said censorship is like telling a man he can't eat a steak because a baby can't chew it. A large part of my formative years, I realized, were essentially akin to censorship, and people dealing with things that they didn't like, or not wanting to deal with things they didn't like or couldn't tolerate, and imposing those limits on others. So I tend to lash out, and what sucks is there is a serious negative consequence that if I do talk about said things, then it derails. And unfortunately, there's not much else going on in my life that isn't revolving around two or three very specific things, and I can't talk about it. So then I have to think, oh, well, what other things can I talk about? What funny topics can I chat about that would entertain the fine folks? And I realize it's going to be like the names and faces in this movie have been changed to protect the identities of those involved, and then like no animals will hurt in the process of making this. So I realize I have to pick and choose aspects that I can talk about, like my absolute disdain for mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the goddamn worst. I hate summer to begin with. Summer itself is just a shitty season. It's way too hot. I don't like sweating, and I'm a bigger guy, so I sweat. I get the underboob sweat. I get the face sweat. It's mostly the face sweat. The forehead just it drips and runs to the point where I carry around a handkerchief and do a little shitty bandana, not for style points. Not for style points. I hear it makes me look like a biker, so kudos me. But no, it's so I don't have sweat constantly running off of my face onto people's floors and carpets and keeps it out of my eyes. On top of that, being the Midwest and we're around a lot of lakes in this area, the humidity is just fucking out of control. It I've been in dry heat areas and it's definitely a lot more tolerable than the areas that do have the humidity. That being said, any type of extreme heat can just fucking blow it. It's part of my great disdain for the general southeastern United States, where it's essentially just swamp, and you're walking around with the humidity being this oppressive, omnipresent beast that it just latches onto you and tries to pull you down and drag you down under the surface, and it's awful. It's awful. I don't like summer in any shape or form that it takes. So what what ends up happening is part of that great disdain comes with the mosquitoes that tend to populate and other insects and bugs. I don't have a problem with. Spider bites don't agree with me. I have severe reactions to them, but they don't bother me. I'll still handle spiders, whatever. Mosquitoes, though, mosquitoes can just go fuck right off, and it's one of those things. Like, there's nobody that does like mosquitoes. They are just an ever-present threat, pain in the butt, what have you, that nobody wants to deal with. Nobody enjoys them, and for years I've always been hearing like scientists have been looking for a way to eliminate the mosquito population, either by outright destroying them through genocidal means, or by introducing a mutant variant that doesn't require them to suck blood. And I know, like, it's only the female members of the mosquito population that suck blood. The males will go and to flowers, get nectar, things like that. It suits their needs. So for years and years and years, it's like the flying car that you hear about in kindergarten. Why don't we have flying cars yet? Well, they're coming in the future. Well, if 30 years later, the future's here, and no flying cars and no end to the mosquito crisis. And what makes it worse is that in this area, because we've had an extreme amount of rain, there was also flooding. With the flooding, there came a lot of standing bodies of water in backyards, ditches were overflowed, things like that. And so mosquitoes have just been having a field day with it. Sure, it's great, it's getting to be the middle part of August. We don't have that blazing heat and dead grass and just that awful stretch that we typically do. Everything's still lush and green. In fact, we had a nice little rainstorm come through this morning. But the mosquitoes have just been ridiculous because of it. They have all sorts of areas to breed and propagate. So most of my job involves me then going outside. And I got pulled into our eastern territories on, what was it? It was Sunday, I think. Yeah, because I was bitching about it Monday. Or did I get pulled east Monday? It doesn't matter. It was earlier this week. I got pulled east. Now, our eastern area is essentially houses built into the middle of the woods, a lot of small lakes, a lot of swampy areas, and mosquitoes are just fucking, holy shit, they were tremendously bad. Normally, like in our normal areas, the south and the north, the mosquito population, you can kind of predict where they're going to be. They're a little more invasive, so any real shady area, they're going to go ahead and move into that. So if you're going into the shade, doesn't necessarily have to be near any wooded section or area near water. They're just going to be there. They're going to be on top of you. Out east, they're just fucking everywhere. I was standing like mosquitoes follow vampire rules to an extent. Like they don't go out into the sun. These little bastards, they followed me out into the sun. There's a little bit of breeze. They can't really be there. They were everywhere, breeze or no breeze. It was terrible. And up until yesterday, I had a can of insect repellent. It's like your off or your whatever other brands you have of mosquito repellent, except it was DEET free. And I had been using it, and it made me smell nice, great, but it wasn't really doing the job. I was still getting bit up, and I wasn't sure, well, is it just not an effective repellent, or is it doing its job, and the mosquitoes are just that bad? And I was getting really, really pissed with it, to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm going to go find the strongest DEET that there is and just bathe in it. I'm going to let this chemical concoction soak into my pores and let my skin and tissue and bones absorb it to the point where I become the physical embodiment of pestilence. Where I walk, there are dry, dead patches of grass behind me. Eagles fall out of the sky and scream, ah! And with me, death and disease comes about, but no mosquitoes touch me. And I was willing to make that sacrifice, like, because I hate mosquitoes. With the constant, the bites itch. Whatever. My arms are all lit up. I have bites everywhere. I have a couple of my eyebrows, like this eyebrow, and it's maddening. But far and away, the worst is the little buzzing noise, that little tiny that goes right by your ear. If they could just bite me without making the noise, it'd make things worlds better. But the noise, the noise drives me nuts. It drives me insane. And then you see them, like, they do this thing now where they buzz between my glasses and my eyes, like, so they're in this little enclosed space, and I'm standing outside at a pestle, flipping out, flailing my hands like, oh Jesus, God, please, Allah, Buddha, whomever, just get this, get it away, and then they don't, and I'm sure whatever customer is sitting inside their house is like, what the hell's going on with him? He's just he's got the bright neon safety vest and a belt full of tools, and he's just flailing around like a swarm of bees is coming after him, but they can't see or hear anything because it's all mosquitoes. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So I was going through my closet for something else. In fact, I not that we've gone on enough side tangents here, but another side tangent. As part of my whole, I'm going to start working out, I'm going to start eating better, and yada yada yada. I say, let's get some multivitamins. Let's introduce some, like, men's multivitamin to get me all the nutrients that I need on a daily basis. Introduced into my diet, and so I bought the, I think it was like the Equate brand version of them. And they're like, oh yeah, you're getting 100 or 125% of your daily value of X, Y, and Z, which I don't even know if I should believe that, if it's actually, what my daily value is, or B, if it's actually supplying that amount. All I know is they taste like shit, but they're supposed to make me healthy. The problem was, though, I bought them, And I put them in my like pantry where I keep all the other medicines and pills and whatnot, like the NyQuil and what have you. And so it wasn't a habit that I had formed yet that I need to take this. And so it immediately became a thing of out of sight, out of mind. And it would be not until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like, son of a bitch, I forgot to take my goddamn vitamin again. Because I'm not used to doing it. I haven't taken vitamins since, the Flintstone chewables when I was like 4 and 5. I fucking love me some Flintstone chewables. This was before they were the gummies. They were the little chewable ones. You get Dino and, Bam Bam. Oh, they're so good. But yeah, if you're, I don't necessarily have the healthiest diet, so supplements are going to be nice for that. And day after day after day, I'd forget to take them. And be like, okay, when you get home, take the pills out of the pantry, put them on the kitchen table. Let them sit there, because that way they're staring you in the face when you get ready to leave in the morning. Oh, yeah, I need to take my vitamin. But day after day, I'd forget to do it. Until one morning, like, holy shit, I remembered to do it. So I went into the closet and I grabbed my vitamins, and what do you imagine was behind the vitamins? A can of Deep Woods insect repellent with 40% DEET in it. Now I don't know how that compares, if there's like a 90 proof DEET that gets me a little tipsy while I fight off the mosquitoes, but I'm like, oh, this is going to be way better than what I had before. So take my vitamin, put the insect repellent in my lunch bag, and go to work. Roll onto a job. Of course, there's mosquitoes. It's sunny. There's not many woods around. There's like bushes and a couple trees, but fucking mosquitoes are still there. Like, all right, time to see how you perform. Go ahead, grab the can of. It's not off. It's some brand. I don't even remember what it was. Like Sports Guard or some shit. And go ahead and just douse everything. Just spray myself down. And then that smell comes back. You know how like cans of off, or apparently anything with DEET in it smells like, oh, this smells like it's gonna work, because it smells terrible. It doesn't smell fruity and flowery like the other one, which I thought would attract the mosquitoes. Like, why do I want to smell like this? Because I always remember the old wives' tale of like, oh, mosquitoes are attracted to like the smell of bananas and black clothing and things like that. Or maybe it was just my parents' way of saying, don't be a banana eating goth. So I doused myself with the DEET repellent, and what do you know? Mosquitoes are like, they would come within like a foot of me, and they'd hit a wall and be like, oh fuck, what the hell is this? And then they'd fly away. And it worked. It worked. I didn't get one bite that day. Whereas every other day I was getting at least half a dozen. Not one. Not a single bite. It was amazing. So, I mean, getting back to the point of, where is science with getting rid of mosquitoes? I know things like dragonflies and bats, they sustain part of their diet on mosquitoes. So I know we probably shouldn't kill them all outright, but what happened to those mutant variants that we could introduce into a population then that, fuck like little mosquito rabbits and outbreed the blood-sucking variant that then go fully into, oh, we're going after fruits and flowers to sustain our diet? Where's that? Why can't we go with more aggressive methods where, honestly, I believe a large part of it comes down to personal responsibility with the mosquitoes and controlling their population. Where we've had these really bad rains and stagnant waters where, say you have a pool that has a little bit of water in it, you're not really using it though, you have to keep it covered so it doesn't become a breeding ground. Same thing needs to apply for these flooded areas. I don't care if you have to build a picket fence out of those little tiki torches. Do something to maintain the population. Go out there and, I had one customer saying, oh yeah, I bombed the yard 3 times already and they're still this bad. Great for you. I understand there's standing water. There's not much you can do. You're bombing. All right, kudos to you. You're trying. But there's other people like, oh yeah, just don't even go in the backyard. Like, I have to go in your backyard. There's shit in there that I need to work on. it got to the point where I was wearing. I have a in the back of my truck for when winter rolls around. I have like a hoodie, a zip-up hoodie, but it's lined with thermal insulation. I was putting that on along with gloves and like pulling the hood up, zipping it tight, like, please don't get me. I'd rather sweat and be miserable than put up with these mosquitoes. So why don't we have better ways of repelling, if not outright wiping them out? Why can't we have like little automated battery turrets where we set up a perimeter, like no mosquito shall pass this line, and it's little like the little auto turrets on the Death Star as the X-wings were flying in on New Hope. Why can't we have a bunch of those lining our yards, providing enough of like an electrical discharge, not enough to hurt anything really, except for kill a mosquito. So like if a baby or a pet walks up to it, it's not even going to be doing anything to them. And we could set those up, and so we get a little light show of them just like blasting mosquitoes out of the air, so we know it's working. You know, be it lasers or electrical discharge, but then we have to color it like the green turbo laser batteries. That's what they were, to blow these little fucking minions from hell out of the sky. God, I hate mosquitoes. Hate them. So, the Lords of Overtime, they have not beckoned me. They have gone to rest, laid dormant for the season's coming at an end. Which is why we're getting a Thursday episode, making up for what should have been a Monday episode. So, I hit two pretty big gaming milestones, at least in my opinion, this past week. Because I was so frustrated, and gaming is definitely a stress reliever for me, I realize I don't play nearly enough games because I get home and I'm tired, and it's like, oh, I'm an old man, I can't play a video game. I must go to sleep by 8:30. And I've been going to sleep by 8:30, and I wake up at 6, and like, everything is awful. And so, in Destiny, the last Iron Banner rolled around. Now, for those not familiar with Destiny, the Iron Banner is a PvP event that would come by once a month. It was focused very much on one faction, the Iron Lords, who essentially were space knights. You have medieval-looking armor formed into spacesuits, and it's badass looking. And so I'd always been into it. And the nice thing about Iron Banner was you got to get some pretty good pieces of gear, not only from what the armor stats are, like, oh, it couldn't do this, and the gun also does this, but also in terms of leveling up your light level. Light level being your item level. So the higher the item level, essentially the better equipped you are to deal with things. So it's a rating on how good your character is kitted out. Now, the cap in the game at the end of it, as it's quickly approaching here, has been 400. Now, the quick, easy, not necessarily easy way, but the most reliable, trusted method of getting to that max item score level 400 was to start doing nightfall strikes and raids. But Bungie, in their infinite wisdom, decided no matchmaking in game for that. You need to go outside the game to find teams to do this. And we've run a multi-game group guild for years and years and years, over a decade now. But we're adults in our 30s with kids and families and responsibilities, and it's always hard to relegate a day in time to do that. Now, I had picked up a couple of Destiny raid groups, from like the 1000 or the 100 and on LFG and through other friends, but it doesn't really stick around, mostly because I'm weird. I don't get along with people for extended periods of time, which is fine, whatever. Also, again, I get busy and I get in weird moods, and I'm a social butterfly with my games in the sense that I don't just play one extensively. I will move from one to the other. Like I recently got really into Warcraft, and now guess what? I'm really into Destiny and Overwatch. So I don't stick with one for very long before moving to another, and then it's a cycle. I pick like 4 or 5 games and move around them. So it was hard for me to get light level gear, and the way Destiny does it is you don't get like, oh, if you run Crota, you get level 390 gear guaranteed. It was based on the average of what your current character currently had equipped. So if all your gear averaged out to like 384, you're going to see like 385, 386 pieces drop. Then you just keep working your way up, either by equipping the new gear or infusing it into your current stuff to increase the light level. And Iron Banner provided an opportunity to solo players like myself where they would drop that gear to then increase, your light level, or again, whatever. It just increases that. So I dove in because this is the last Iron Banner for Destiny 1. Now, probably it's going to roll around again in Destiny 2, and I'm going to eat it up. But said, you know what, this is my last real chance. I'm going to go ahead and, one, play Destiny for the last time here before Destiny 2 comes out. And then 2, just try and hit light level 400. And it was happening where can't think, brain fart. Oh, I was getting pieces of gear dropping. I don't know if they increased the drop rate of gear because the game's coming to an end or what the deal was, but it seemed like I had last Friday off, so I dove in whole hog. It was like, oh yeah, this gear is dropping, and my light level was going up. Like I started the game at 395, and by the end of that day I was at 399, which was just astounding. And on top of that, I was getting rep bonuses, so I could go to different vendors at the tower and like, oh hey, I need this package, and like, okay, well here's new gear for you, and it finally happened where I got my first piece of 400 gear, and it was the automatic rifle. I don't like ever since Rise of Iron came out, I don't like the design of the Iron Banner weapons, so I would just infuse them to what I had, which was the year 2 stuff. So Hakon's hatchet was the first one to go up, and and then I had really what was it, her champion or her vengeance, something related to the Awoken, and that was the shotgun, and piece by piece I was getting level 400 gear. I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna make it. To the point where all that was holding me back was the chest piece and the ghost. And so I went and had been using my rep boosters. I'm like, well, what's my level at now? It's high enough. So I fly my ass back to the tower, and it's like 11:30 at night. Like, I should go to bed, but I don't have work in the morning. So, or no, I think it was last Saturday. I'm like, I gotta do this. And I do that. I get onto like a death march where I need to complete something. If I'm this close to doing it, I don't care what's happening, be it on the job or in my personal life working towards something in a game. I will death march something. And sorry, I had to sneeze. There might be another one coming on, but I'm getting on this track of I gotta do this, and fly back to the tower, run up to Zavala like, Zavala, I've got the golden ticket. You gotta give me the gear, please, Zavala. Give me the gear, Zavala. Zavala, deadpan as always, looks at me and says, "Who the fuck are you?" "Zavala, I've been killing all the people in the Iron Banner." "Well, you want to go talk to Shax then." "But Zavala, I got Vanguard rep." "I understand, but it's not enough Vanguard rep for me. You need to go talk to Shax or the Crucible rep." "Zavala, please." "No, he's just down the hall. Go down the hall." And so I go down the hall. I talk to Shax, and Shax's like, he's a little more verbose than Zavala, but not much. "Guardian, what do you need?" "I need my gear, Shax. Please, God, get me to 400. And so he hands me over. I picked an armor pack. And I open up. Now, the packs that you get from them, they contain random items. Now, you can inspect them before you buy them to see what they could contain, but it's a lottery. And so if you buy an armor pack, it has a guaranteed piece of armor that's going to drop. But the biggest item I needed, I needed the ghosts. Ghosts aren't dropped in any package. They're dropped across all of them, but it's kind of like a bonus roll on something. And so I was worried that was the one thing that was going to hold me back. And lo and behold, I open up the armor pack. Chest piece. Yes! Awesome! I just need their ghost. Shax, please! Please, Shax. Please, dear God, give me a ghost. Buy another package from him. Fucking ghost drops. Actually, no, I lie. So I got the chest piece from Shax. I ran back to Zavala. "Zavala, please. Please. Give me a ghost." And he says, "Shut up, Guardian. Shut up." Gives me the armor pack. Or no, I bought the weapons pack because I've been reading the forums like, What do the ghosts drop from? Please tell me. Give me a secrets. And everybody's like, buy the weapon pack, buy the weapon pack. And sure enough, the first weapon pack I buy, level 400 ghost drops. Go ahead and infuse that little bastard into my Taken looking ghost, and boom, level 400 Titan. Oh, it felt so good. And I get in some other really awesome stuff. Let me see if I can pull it up here on the video feed. They gave me the in 2015, the Festival of the Lost, there was a blue floaty skull that dropped, and it was a headpiece. So here I've got it pulled up on the video feed. He's so handsome. He's so awesome. What sucks is you can't infuse it, so it's stuck at like 250 something or whatever. And so the eyes glow, and he's got a little flaming head, and the jaw moves back and forth, and he chatters. It's amazing. Oh my God, do I love it. I love it. In fact, here, let's go ahead and we'll change the image. With that inspiration of like, oh, I'm really into Destiny. I had been wanting to do a Destiny-themed show for a while. I found out there weren't many Destiny podcasts to listen to, and those that were out honestly aren't very good. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and we'll make a Destiny podcast. But the problem always was that there was, because Destiny 2 got pushed back, it should have been out for, a year now, but it got pushed back and they released Rise of Iron instead. The issue was always content droughts. What do I do when they're not releasing content? There's no news. What do I talk about? And I realized, I can delve a bit into the lore. I can get into the characters and what's happening in the game, because Destiny already doesn't explain their lore very well. And I know there's YouTube channels out there like my name is Bife, who does a great job explaining Destiny's lore, like VatiVidya does for the Dark Souls and Bloodborne series. So I don't want to step on those toes, but definitely, kind of like what The Instance does with its lore episodes, where they break down a character in particular. I could easily do that for like a half hour, do a little bit of research. And with Destiny 2 looming on the horizon, there's going to be just a ton of content that I can work through and, you know, and really get into something I enjoy, keep it short and sweet, you know, half hour a week, and we can talk Destiny. That being said, you're like, well, Christian, didn't you just cancel a show because you don't have enough time? Yes, I did. Thank you for pointing that out. But I don't know, passion projects. I constantly have an itch to create things, and I'm getting better at finishing half finished projects and then starting up new ones. But we'll see how it plays out. I might only do, you know, a handful of episodes and decide, oh, this isn't for us, or but I want to at least try it. You know, try something once, and you never know if you might like it. Ooh. But so I was looking at. I had a great idea for the name and whatnot. And then I was looking at domains because when I decide to do something, even if it's like on a whim, I decide to go whole hog. So like, I'm gonna get the domain, I'm gonna get the email address, and this, that, and the other thing, and I went to go check the domain, and like, somebody already has this. I'm like, okay, but you can make an offer on it. All right, you know what? I like the idea well enough, and it's a really good name. Let's go ahead and we'll make a bid. So I go to the bidding site and like, well, let's start off and just get a C, because typical domains, anywhere from like $5 up to like 15, depending on the site. Like, well, we'll bid $20, and then it's like, you must bid a minimum of $199 for a domain. Like, I don't think I've made $25 collectively from my projects. Like, there's no way I'm pitching in $200 on a lark. So we're just gonna name the podcast, and then fuck it, it's not getting its own site or anything. I'm gonna lump it in with everything else. So I mean, I don't know. I can tell you guys what it is because I doubt anybody. Well, I mean, if you do, fuck it, I'm still gonna call the podcast it. We're gonna call it Eyes Up Guardian. Eyes Up Guardian. So once a week, we'll break down the news on Destiny and discuss and just kind of do like a short primer. I really, when we were doing Friday Night Smite and trying to gear it towards a podcast in a failed attempt, I liked that, you know, reading the subreddits and the forums and the news posts, and then compiling show notes. Like, here's what we need to talk about, and then we wouldn't talk about it, and like, fuck. So with Destiny, I can be in full control because I'm a control freak, and we'll make it work. I'm telling you though, guys, I'm fighting the urge. Like, I knew I should record something today, but I'm looking like, I got my weekly resets for Destiny and Warcraft, and then there's Overwatch. Oh. So I did the right thing. We're recording the audio thing and the video, and we'll get the audio and the video uploaded here, and it'll be fun. It'll be great. Everybody be happy. So, trying to be responsible. But did I cover everything I wanted to cover? I think so. We got Mosquitos. We got Destiny. We got more Destiny. We got Christian overworking himself, and as per the usual. Yeah, I think that's it. We got through a show. So, again, sorry for the delay. This is going to be going up today, Thursday, and then I do actually have an episode of the Midnight Express ready to go. I just have to figure out how the RSS stuff works with Patreon. So, patrons over at patreon.com/0n09. You're going to be getting your first episode here. I know it's been long talked, but it's going up today. And if you too want to get bonus content like the Midnight Express, which is essentially me rambling for a half hour on my 1 a.m. drive home, head over to patreon.com/0n09. Pitch in $1, you'll get the episodes and so much more. Of course, that'll do it. We record live now Mondays at 9 p.m. Central, at both twitch.tv/0and09 and twitch.tv/HofCgaming. Archives go up on both the respective YouTubes as well. And, of course, you can check out all the other fine shows that we produce on the network. But until next week, I guess that does it. And we'll see you later. Eyes up, Guardian.
I can feel the end, it's drawing near. It will soon be here. Oh, that much is clear. So shut the doors and turn off the lights. Let us sleep tonight. Let us huddle in the dark. Oh, my lover, you are beautiful, but that beauty comes at such a price. And I know that you'll soon disappear, like the dark and the night.
This show is part of the HFC Gaming Network. Get more at horrorofcasitis.com.